Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK. My co host is Bricky. He knows all the Warhammer stuff, and he's going to teach us all the Warhammer 40k stuff. I guess I should have. Anyway. So, if you enjoyed today's podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. We have a lot of great things for you there. Stuff like HD posters, access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. The HD poster is the Bone Zone, which is a very nice looking Necron female. They do exist. It's canon. Necron females are canon. So patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky, book club, merch, any other happenings?
Book club, read yourself Brutal Cunning. That'll probably be out at the end of this week, give or take. Maybe early next week. Regardless, I've started it myself. I wanted to read it all at the end. It's pretty good. Pretty good so far. Love the accents. Always good about the Mets, baby. But you know what? It's also, it's about the merch, baby. It's about the merch. Orchidate.com. Check out the description. We got hoodies. We got Adeptus Ridiculous t-shirts in black and white. What's that? A legally distinct Mechanicus shirt with legally distinct binary that might mean something. Put it in a binary code. Find out yourself. And an orc, I'm a tank shirt and a hoodie. Oh my god, say it ain't so, DK. Say it ain't so.
It ain't so.
Where's the beef? That's an old meme that even I get.
That is an old... You're such a boomer making that reference. Whoa, what are you, like 80 years old?
I'm gonna drink my prune juice. It'll make me reroll ones.
Oh, all right. Okay, so we're boomers. We're boomers.
That's a joke me and the Dice Check boys always make. Where it's like, damn, girl, is that ass reroll ones?
Okay.
It's good. Don't worry about it. It works out.
It sounded funny. It gave me a chuckle, even though I don't quite know about re-rolling ones. It's fine.
In 40k, very often you'll get rules that let you re-roll your ones.
Okay.
Like let's say you got a captain of a Space Marine Legion, and if he's next to like a squad, the squad gets to re-roll ones when they shoot because like they have a leader there.
Oh, that's very handy.
Yes, there's a lot of things like that, and so damn DK, does that ass re-roll ones?
Okay. Thank you for explaining the joke. Made it less funny the second time, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but then it's just like when we started doing Among Us references. It was never funny, but if you force it hard enough, it becomes funny. Normally it doesn't, but you go into popularity, humor, too much humor on Facebook gets annoying, and then humor again for irony's sake. We're in irony's sake. We've gone too far.
The word sus has been ruined forever.
Sus.
Yeah. You know, they used to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna suss them out." You know, suss that person out. And it used to be very, not used that often. Now everybody's just fucking. You go to Wendy's and like, "Oh, that person's sus behind the counter." It's like, yeah, just making a fucking hamburger. Dude, who cares?
Who the fuck is going to Wendy's and going to the counter and being like, the chef is sus? Who the fuck does?
I bet you people in California, I bet you people in California and Florida do it.
All right, DK, I'm gonna give you a quote, and I want you to see if you can decipher what our topic will be about via this quote.
Okay.
All right. As a child on Gehenna, I remember the stories of the White Maidens, terrifying ghosts that would come in the night to steal away the Witchborn and children who had done terrible wrongs. It was said that they could find the wicked no matter how deep in the hive they sank or to what forgotten spire they climbed. As I grew, I came to believe such things were no mere superstition. But now that I am an officer of the Great Crusade, bloodied upon the battlefields of a score of worlds, I have come to find that my childhood fears were true and quite valid. The Memoirs of the Lieutenant Colonel Gundren Sue, 227th Gehenna Rifles.
Oh, and I'm supposed to figure out what we're talking about off of that, huh?
There's a couple little tidbit clues in there.
Now, if you're not savvy to 40k would you be able to justifiably pick out what this was supposed to be?
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, fuck me, dude. Like,
DK, don't pretend like you're not savvy. You know probably more than some of our audience at this point.
Well, you have done quite a good job with the podcast and teaching me. Maybe it's. I mean, I heard stuff about hives and ghosts. Like, a part of me almost wants to say it's some sort of, like, specific tyrannid?
Stories of white maidens to steal
Oh.
away the witchborn and children.
Is it a sister's thing?
Yes.
Uh,
Close.
is it a specific chapter of Sisters?
All right, I'm gonna give up at this point. Well, for one,
Fuck!
DK, the
Oh,
chapters are Space Marines. Sisters have orders.
no.
And
Oh.
no, we're doing the Sisters of Silence.
Ooh, okay. They're the ones that make everybody uneasy, right? Or they make
Yep.
people with psychers
Blank
or uneasy
genes.
around them.
Blank Genes,
Ah.
Pariahs, etc. The Sisters of Silence.
Okay.
The unfortunate like redheaded stepchild of GW's work because
Oh.
they're really cool and interesting and they get no love anywhere and ever.
Oh.
And it makes
That's
me
unfortunate.
sad.
There's a lot of stuff like that that just is very cool. Everyone loves it, and then it gets just no love, like the Eldar. But
Well,
fuck
they
the elves.
don't get any mini love.
That's
The
true.
Sisters of Silence, like so, we talked about the Sisters of Silence a bit ago in our Custodians episode, because they work with the Custodians very, very often.
Mhm.
So, of course, they're actually in the Codex at the current moment. You can run Sisters with them. And I believe that they are actually getting, I mean, they're going to be like folded in with the new Custodian Codex, which is actually the next Codex coming out.
Oh shit! Nice.
Custodians and Gene Stealer cults is next. And then in
Yeah.
January is Tau.
Ooh, let's go
so-
Tau.
oh
The
boy.
8. Come on,
Yes.
make the Farsight Enclave great. I
I'm
almost said
scared.
again. I was like, oh no, I shouldn't go down that.
Make Tau great again.
Yeah. I
Actually,
was like,
don't though,
ooh.
because when Tau are good, it's a very bad time. But
Just
anyway,
the Farsight Enclave. I just want the 8 to be good, and I want everybody to roll the anime weeb trope.
I'm okay with that.
I want everyone to run the 7 Samurai Tau, or the 8 Samurai Tau, as it were.
I guess the Seven Samurai isn't really a weeb trope. It's just like a, you know what? This is Tau. We're talking about Sisters of Silence. Yes, this is a faction. It's like a semi-faction that really doesn't get any love from GW in terms of minis. Their minis are fine, but they're a bit old. They don't have any special characters except for a duo character with another custodian based on a book. They're really, and they're honestly not that great right now in terms of characters, but I like to run them because I think they're fluffy and interesting and a lot of fun.
They're fluffy. I just
yeah.
imagined like just this really like this sister that's in like a big, oh no, I was about to say fursuit, but like
A big coat.
Yeah, big coat, big fluffy coat, because the picture that Shy has like that one pauldron with all like the fur on it, and I was like, aw, she just wants a hug. She's so fluffy.
Actually, you'd be surprised that she probably does want a hug. I think the Sisters of Silence are a little depressed. But
Probably.
anyway, so let's talk about them. So the Sisters of Silence are working under how's this pronounced? The Astra Telepathica. They're a branch of it in particular, and the thing about them is that they're really secretive. They're like some of the most secretive, but I think I say that about like everything. The Grey Knights are super secretive. The Dark Angels act secretive. But this one, there's quite a way to kind of keep them quiet, because the Sisters of Silence are not really a known force, so to speak.
Oh.
Like, I don't think the public knows they exist. Where
Well, the public doesn't know a lot exists, to be fair, right? They're not
that's
really
true.
kept in the loop. They don't know Tyranids exist, right?
to
And
an
they
extent,
never see
yeah.
Space Marines ever, so
But they
I guess
know
they at least-
that the Space Marines exist. That it's the
Yeah.
Emperor's Holy Warriors. I think they know that Custodians exist, because they're like it's the main guard of the emperor. But it's
Yeah.
just they'll almost never see one,
Right.
because they're only on Terra and all that. But we don't know how many Sisters of Silence there are. Like we don't have a number
Oh.
or anything. Like they are very very quiet. And honestly, at the same time, they might actually just see the Sister of Silence and probably mistake them for a Sister of Battle, because they're like,
that's true. 'Cause
lady
they
with
wouldn't
bolter.
know.
Yeah.
Although, so is this so a Sister of Silence makes is it just psychers that are uneasy around a blank?
Yeah, it's everybody, but psychers get it worse. They get it like 10
Okay.
times.
So if a normal person was in, say, the presence of a Sister of Silence, they would probably know because they'd feel really uneasy and like weird and wonky.
But they don't know what a blank is. They don't know what like a pariah is.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
a
Gotcha.
soulless being. They don't really understand that. It's not public knowledge.
Right.
Um,
Right.
But for these girls, like we don't know how many there are. We don't know where they're operating. They're very secretive with their base on Terra and also on the moon. And the whole concept of them, the silence is as a multifaceted concept.
Mm-hmm.
Both because the silence is the thought process of the lack of a soul, because they're all blanks, untouchables, pariahs, whatever the word you want to use. They are a body without a soul in the warp. And so the whole concept of like the fundamental wrongness of their body, like being near them, it's like looking at a painting that is just, it's like uncanny valley. It's just not, it's like looking at Hitler's paintings, you know? It's just because he was really bad at drawing faces and painting like people, and it's just like that's just, it's not right. Something about it is weird. I don't like being near it. It feels off. It's like having trypophobia and seeing like the holes and stuff.
Yeah.
And you just like, I don't know why that's bugging me, but I can't look at it.
Yeah, it's like if you have that and you look at it's like a honeycomb or like a beehive with all the little holes and all the little larvae wiggling around, and that's unsettling even if you don't have it actually.
Yeah, it's really nasty, but it creates that feeling. Now the amount of like lack of soul can actually increase and decrease. There are some sisters that have a stronger like anathema feeling to them. Particularly one of the head is a girl named Janicia Kroll. Janicia Kroll is the was known as the Soulless Queen or the Witch Bane. She was the
cool name.
The Soulless Queen is fucking dope.
That's so metal.
She was the Knight. What's it called the Knight Commander or the Vigil Commander. She was the big main Sister of Silence, and apparently her anathema was like laughably powerful. Like she would stroll through a room, and then like Space Marines would have to look away. Like obviously they wouldn't make much of a tell, but they would just kind of like turn their head,
just kind of tilt a little bit. Yeah.
Because
Shy posted a picture of her, and she definitely looks like she would step on me.
She'd step on it. If you were a witch, she'd step on you with a sword.
She's like, if you were a Space Marine, she'd probably step on you, and you'd be like, "Thank you, come again."
Thank you, come again.
Yeah,
it's like Apu and fucking Simpsons.
Right? Yeah, he's come back anytime. I'll be here. How do you get more soulless exactly? You said like there were varying degrees. It's like if you do enough evil, do you lose more soul points? And if you're like more friendly, do your soul points go up? And you how did that work?
It's a mutation for one. You have this it's a mutation, and I guess it's just the strength of the mutation.
Okay.
Because
it's not actually soullessness. It's just a mutation that makes you weird.
Yeah, it's like you don't necessarily. I guess I don't know if you necessarily literally don't have a soul, but because the warp is a layer upon the real world, right? They're two, like they're layered on top of each other in terms of like a dimensional thing. It's like when you walk around, you're parting the waves of the warp around you. It's like a black hole, where light literally can't travel in, so it creates like an accretion disk circling around it.
Oh,
Think of
okay.
it like that, where it's like you just don't get touched. You're like a magnet, and everything around you is the same pole, and it's just kind of forcing it away.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So if you're stronger, the more you force this away, and the more unsettling it feels.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's
That
it's
makes
very
sense.
difficult to truly get down on that kind of thing and truly understand it. But
Yeah.
as for the Sisters of Silence, they obviously use this, are taken back to Terra trained everything, and their whole point is to be warrior investigators and like hunters. They go out and they seek out and apprehend psychers from the human population and return them back to the Divisio Astra Telepathica for
Mm-hmm.
some kind of assessment and disposition. If I'm not mistaken on this one, they're actually some of the main crew and man the black ships.
Oh,
And the
I
black.
do recall that. Yeah, something about black ships and it's full of sisters that are bringing psychers back somewhere. And did we talk about that in the Schola Progenium episode, where like sisters have to bring something to the Schola in the black ships?
Maybe because the black ships they go around and they hunt psychers. That's the concept of the witch or the maidens, soulless maidens in the night taking your kids,
Yeah.
because you have a psychically whatever kid, and they just show up and they just take them in the night, and they go away.
You're not gonna stop them. Good luck.
Yeah, good fucking luck trying to stop them. They're incredibly well trained, and not only
How?
that, but then you've got their damn like anti psychic
Yeah.
field.
How often do they? I guess I want to say fail, because if a psyker's around a blank, they want to like gouge their eyes out and kill themselves. So how often does like a Sister of Silence go up to a psyker and be like, "You're coming with me," and the psyker just like blah, 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 and just stabs himself or something?
I think often they don't do that because they normally get them young. But
Oh,
if
okay. So they're still like kids, and okay.
to an extent, but they're also completely immune to psychic assault. That's the cool thing about them, is that like they are nigh unaffected by any psychic power. Even in the tabletop game, you cannot hit them with psychic powers. They are affected by zero. It is
Oof.
literally impossible.
Oh, right, but I meant like how often does like their prisoner just like flip out that they're around a blank and just freak out and jump out a window or something?
Oh well, they stopped that. They have like
Oh,
special
okay.
areas of the ship that makes it like proof or makes it like not as powerful or painful, and it
Okay.
depends on what they want them for. You know, like sometimes they
Yeah.
they seek out witches and their job is to kill them. Like there's a
Ah.
psyker on this planet, he's getting a little too strong, we're gonna murder him. And this psyker is like, I'm mad with power, I'm the wizard of whatever, and he starts like shooting lightning bolts, and they just don't get hit by it. Like it fizzles out before they get touched, because these girls are so the antithesis against the warp. Like
What a
all their powers mean nothing, so then they're being forced to deal with them in like hand-to-hand combat or guns, and they're gonna lose that fight.
10 times out of 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a bunch of badasses. God, all the pictures of them look so cool too.
Yeah, some of the pictures are pretty old because the new artwork isn't well, they just haven't had much new artwork because, like I said, GW doesn't really do much with them. But often they work very heavily with custodians because custodians are neither blanks nor psychers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And because of that, they kind of have like an overall weakness against things like demons, for example, or psychers and sorcerers.
Yeah.
So actually, when Magnus did his oopsie and Kool Aid Man's fucking the Emperor's psychic barrier and let a whole bunch of demons into the fucking throne room, a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of Sisters of Silence, including Janicia Kroll, were used to fend off that engagement and that incursion.
Oh. I was gonna say sisters must be pretty good to fight against like chaos and warp shit, right? Since they're um blanks, I guess.
They become
So that
very powerful. All the fancy random demon bullshit doesn't really work. I mean, a big demon will still squish you, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
Smaller demons are like, oh, get it away, get it away.
yeah. What happens when a Sister of Silence dies? Like they don't, their soul doesn't go to the warp because that's not really their thing because of their mutation, right?
I don't I don't know if they do or don't have souls. I
Oh,
like they're considered soulless because of their weird aura around the warp, but I actually don't know if they legitimately do not have a soul.
and where
It's
would they go? Like, what chaos god would they feed if
I
one
this you're
died
asking the
in their?
wrong questions. I have no idea. I don't think anyone knows. This is a like not only is the idea of a blank secretive, but it's not been
Oh,
expanded upon very much at all.
okay. If you had to make an educated guess as our fearless leader in
Oh no.
40K ridiculous lore, what would happen when a blank died?
I would think very little. I would
Very little,
think
just
that if a psyker dying was a bucket and a person dying was a cup, they're a drop.
okay. So
That's
not a
my
whole lot, not a
educated
whole lot of
guess.
disturbances. Just they just fizzle out, and that's that.
That's my educated guess.
Hey, okay, good, good. Glad to
I
hear
did,
it.
I did my best.
It's now
Uh,
canon, and people are gonna actually you in the comments. Good job.
oh my god. So the second
Yes.
part of the Sisters of Silence is the fact that the silence part is referring to the blankness of them, right? The soulless idea.
Yeah.
They also don't speak.
Oh, they're literally silent.
They are mute. They take a vow of silence. They actually
Oh.
can speak. That's the thing is
Hmm.
that they don't like cut out their tongue or remove their vocal box or anything like that. They take a vow of tranquility. The
Hmm.
concept is that at the end of their what is it, their training, they have this idea of like a vow of silence because then not even in pain. If they're in pain, if they're like getting stabbed, they won't make any noise. Like
Oh.
that's the concept is that under duress of pain, they will be stoic and not speak. Under impact of blade or bolts, they will show their resolve and not speak. No secret will ever be spoken. No torture can end up like revealing secrets or anything like they are unbreakable in that sense. So it's their vow of
Damn.
silence.
So you gotta be hardcore to be a Sister of Silence. Like not any like Joe Schmo can be a sister. Like that's hard.
It's pretty crazy. That's actually part of the reason why they shave their hair, is for the vow of tranquility, the same thing. Minus of course the top knot on the top.
What does
It,
shaving your head have to do with that though?
uh, fuck, I don't know. Uh,
Oh, okay.
cause
I was
because
gonna say you can be silent with hair.
it might be like the monk thing. Yeah, like shave
Oh,
head for stoicism and tranquility.
but then why
Um,
do you
I
keep the top knot?
I don't fucking know, DK.
Okay, I'm
GW
sorry.
hasn't described it for me.
I'm very inquisitive today. I'm sorry.
Inquisitor, get this man.
Yeah, right there, Inquisitor. That man. He won't tell me why they have a top knot and shave the rest of their head.
They also have like the fucking tattoo on their head too, which is that's like a symbol of service to the emperor and that kind of shit.
Oh, okay.
That's the golden throne. That one makes more sense. But they often communicate. They have their own variation of sign language, and
Oh, okay.
so they can sometimes even like do their sign language at such a speed that it's outputted via like a Vox signal in order to
Whoa. Wait,
communicate to.
what?
Yeah, they have to communicate with each other via like radio.
Wait, so you're telling me they do hand signs over Vox?
They do hand signs, and the Vox registers it, picks it up, and sends it as like a signal.
Okay, okay. I thought you were like, oh yeah, they're voxing so fast that it's going through the Voxcaster and they're picking up the sound of it. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Okay, that makes okay, gotcha.
They have a very fancy, extremely high end like sign language entirely just for them. This would actually something be really cool if some people could find a way to create like a variation of said sign language, because the sign
Hmm.
language is its own thing for the sisters and only they understand it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It
Right.
allows them to be very obviously to work together in a combat scenario, but it
Mm-hmm.
also lets them communicate.
Yeah. Oh, those half masks that they wear look really cool. Where it's just like from say the nose down is like that gold mask. Should I
They're
just
like
posted a
grill.
picture of it? Yeah, those look real. That's really cool. Look, I love their armor.
It's actually super dope. I think the sisters have some of the better armor, and they work great as a side section to the custodians, because the custodians are like like 9 feet tall in this enormous gold, and these girls are probably like 6 feet or so. They're pretty like normal. I mean, they're tall, but they're normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting because they're like a well-oiled machine. The two of them, they're very very one with the other because they're needed for different scenarios.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
just
look at that sword that she's wielding in that top picture. That thing is legitimately bigger and or it's taller than a sister. That's so anime,
yeah,
dude.
the swords are very big.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cloud.
Cloud. So I posted a thing about the armor. It's like Vritine armor is a special power armor worn by Sister Silence. When a Sister Aspirant takes her final oath of duty and says the last words she will ever utter aloud in her lifetime, she is given her panoply of war, the armor, literally the armor of the oath. It is a sub
Oh.
pattern of technologically advanced battle gear which shares design elements with both the power armor of the Legiones Astartes and the silicate mesh of Selenite Void Mail. Though
Oh.
unlike either of those famed armors, it is not, at least without additional gearing, fully environmentally sealed or designed for extended operations. And the
Oh.
actual the sword is the Executioner Great Blade, which is the
Nice.
primary melee weapon, and it's used as the idea for guardians of the tithe of Psykerborn, which is feed them to the Emperor, witch seekers, massive executors that often do the usual style of like the beheading and then setting them aflame, because
Sure.
these are witch seekers.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold up. So you're telling me when the sisters get their power armor, do they get one last word before they put the armor on?
They utter their final oath basically,
What?
and
Oh,
then I don't know what it is.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be hilarious if like one of the sisters, they're like, "Oh yeah, what? You get one last word. What is it?" And she's like, "Yeet." Armor on.
Poggers.
This is all very Pogger sisters. Shut her up! Just put the damn
Yeah.
helmet on her. It's
All right.
enough.
Bent over. You're getting the Executioner Great Blade.
Yeah. I just find it hilarious that some of them would be like meme lords and just say something really dumb as their final word and have it recorded.
I can see that. Actually, if you thought that the Janicia Kroll had a really cool thing, um, her idea of like the Knight Commander,
Hmm.
there's also a title for the sisters called the Mistress of the Black Ships, which is fucking
Whoa.
dope to me.
Again, very metal. Very metal.
Oh, Shy sent a quote thinking I didn't already have that ready on my Google Doc. I got this.
Oh,
Quote.
wow.
We are mute but not without power. We are silent but not without resolve. We are untouchable but not without courage. We are sisters and have but one father. We are seekers and we shall find our prey. We are warriors and woe to those we oppose. The Emperor's mark is on our brow. All who deal with the warp must beware. His judgment and vengeance is ours to deliver. The motto of the Sisters of Silence.
God. The Sisters of Silence are so fucking metal, dude. Oh my
And
god.
they have literally one kit. They have one
What?
one kit. It comes with five models, and the only difference is the weapon they carry: bolter, flamer, or sword. That
They
is
don't
it.
even they've never even made like a conversion kit that lets you make a normal sister into like a Sister of Silence if you wanted.
Nope. They, they,
Oh
they, they have a
man.
Sister of Silence kit. Like, it's just the one kit. But yeah, and the minis are okay. You can you
Yeah, I
can
was
give
gonna
them a
say
rhino.
for older minis those don't look too bad. Those don't look as bad as like older like
The old guard stuff.
yeah. Those are
Yeah.
really bad. The ones that look like their face was melted. Yeah.
Yeah, the only other one is that duo one that I mentioned earlier. That's actually from a book.
Oh, that's really cool, actually. I
That one
like
looks
the
good.
Sister
That
of
one's
Silence
like
one.
a
Yeah,
year old, except for the fact that the custodian's got a big ass head.
yeah. His head looks very weird. It's very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, shy. It's like
Put the helmet on.
you've literally seen every single Sister of Silence mini. That's all of them. That's it.
Oh, really? God, they
Yep.
sound so cool. Why? Make more of
I
them.
I do not know. I do not know why they don't make more. If there was a time, it would be during the Custodian Codex because they literally have a Sister of Silence on the cover, front and center, on the
Oh
new
shit.
Codex. It's actually really dope. I need to
Yeah.
find the goddamn Actually,
They're so cool.
you get five Sisters of Silence actually in the next, what's it called? In the new box that they're making.
Oh, you actually get sit, but they're the old sisters of silence.
You well, yeah, they're not anything new in terms
Oh, that's
of
unfortunate.
minis. I
That
would
is.
agree.
Yeah. God, their armor looks so cool. They're very dope. Um, I'm sure I will repeat this many a times as I already have. But they're so fucking metal, dude.
They are
Holy
super
shit.
metal. They are really really cool looking. And let me find the. There we go. Yeah, like this is the new cover art for the Custodians, and like she's right down there, bottom left, bada bing, Sister of Silence.
Yeah, yeah, there she is. Yeah. I also love that their armor makes sense. Right? They're like
It's
Sister of Silence. They've got like the sort of mouth area completely covered. It's so cool. I love
it
it.
has good visual aesthetic with it. I mean, like yeah, they got like big ass boob armor and stuff, but I mean, shit, it's fucking Blood Angels have giant pecs and abs. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well,
It's very it goes with the aesthetic, the
yeah.
concept.
Well, the armor also makes sense because at least it's not like if you ever play like a JRPG or something, the big thing is like the poor female warriors always get the most pointless armor. They get like metal bikinis, and it's like, what the fuck is that gonna protect? Right? Like your entire like abdomen and stomach and your legs are completely exposed, but you've got like this bikini of metal. It's like, what the fuck is that gonna do? Right? So at least they have like full coverage
They have
armor.
armor. The
Yeah,
only thing
it's
that's not
actual
covered
armor
is like
that will protect you.
yeah, besides like their head, like
Yeah.
their noggin, which I guess means it doesn't protect that great. But it's at least it's plate. It's fucking plate armor. It's not a
Yes.
cloth, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a
No,
metal bikini.
they're really neat, and actually it's a little bit sad, because apparently the Sisters of Silence have this like. When I say this, it's gonna sound like a lesbian pillow fight situation.
Okay, I'm ready.
And I'm sorry about that, but
Okay.
because of their nature of their gene, so these sisters are incredibly secretive. They
Sure.
have the pariah untouchable gene, and they spend mainly all their time together, and the only people who they can understand are each other because they can't speak. They only do the sign language, which they can only do with other
Only they
sisters.
can understand. Yeah.
And maybe custodians. I'm sure they understand it for tactical purposes. And but like they are literally an entire group that humanity hates. You know, like they don't know they exist, but
Yeah.
like being around them
Is
is
uneasy and
it's
unsettling. And
vile.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody will ever want to be in the same room as them unless they have to be.
Yeah.
Like
Or nobody willingly will be in the same room. I'm sure they get a few unwilling people as they drag them into the black ships and whatnot. But yeah.
like they sacrifice their words and their entire lives for like a race of people that would gladly be as far away from them as they can. And so because of that, they actually apparently have an extremely strong bond between the
Oh, they'd
sisterhood.
have to. Oh yeah, they would have to because they're the only ones that understand each other and actually don't get sick being next to each other. So that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Yeah.
So being around each other is very very important for them. It's very much a like they have a very strong bond between them. They're very good friends. You know, they obviously have their oaths and importance, but the strength of sisterhood is about as strong as Space Marine to Space Marine, brother to brother kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, then you take that, and then, you know, they fuck, whatever, I don't give a shit. You know, make your fan art, I don't give,
sure,
whatever.
Sure. If I was gonna say, so their blankness is a mutation, right?
Correct.
If a Sister of Silence was ever to like procreate and have a kid, would that mutation pass on to the kid? Or is that not something that can genetically pass down?
I think you're getting a little too deep, and GW probably doesn't even know that themselves.
Okay. Just checking.
Like, there's not... I've got, like, maybe 5 minutes or less for this episode, because there's not a lot. Okay. I mean, you might not like them that much, because they fought alongside the Space Wolves in the Burning of Prospero, because...
Oh,
well,
no.
You know...
But they're so good. Why did you have to tell me that?
Because if they're gonna fight the Psyker army, they're gonna send the anti-Psykers.
Oh, that's, that's, I hadn't really thought about that, but that's true. Who else would you send to go fight big bad Psykers than a bunch of fucking blanks? That's fair.
You know,
yeah.
Unironically, Sisters of Silence would make a very good lesbian love story. I could see that being well written if done tastefully.
Oh, absolutely. I would not mind a book that centered around a bunch of Sisters of Silence that were romantically linked in a tasteful way, as they sort of did all this crazy fuckery that I'm sure that they have to do. Yeah,
and then they start hitting each other pillow fights, and then it's like they start giggling, and it's like, and then and then you draw them with dicks, you know, the whole night. Now draw her getting an education, DK. Draw her getting an education.
Buddy, this is an anime, dude. This is an anime. That would happen. I could see that happening in some freaky anime, but not in 40K, but not in a 40K, but come on.
Now draw her telling me it's gonna be okay.
Shy actually has some. See, that's the kind of armor that makes no fucking sense to anybody, right?
For your information, that is a gender bent custodian. Notice the Guardian Spear weapon, actually. How dare you? I don't know why they didn't just draw a lewd Sister of Silence. It's literally the same thing. What are they doing?
I love that you actually the picture that Shy sent, and it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well done. Okay, now draw her being successful and happy and realizing all her goals and dreams.
All right, draw her leading a good life.
Yeah. I would not mind a Sister of Silence books that would like I mean, even if it wasn't like a romance thing, like one that just further expanded on Sisters of Silence and blanks, because it sounds like there's not a ton of information on them. So just getting a book that told us more about them and like their strife and like literally from their perspective and their like inner turmoil because they can't speak, they took a vow. So that'd be really cool. I'd be down for any book on them. Yeah.
There was the book, the one I mentioned earlier, the Valerian and Alea one, the dual group. But like, yeah, they certainly need more on them. They're an interesting organization. They have kind of a tragic, backstory, I guess. They have a tragic use to willingly put their life away for a race of people who can't stand them. You know, it's you could we're making lesbian jokes here. That's obviously just mainly jokes. Granted, they could do a very good story about that, but
they could. It could be a tasteful story that would.
It reminds me of a lot of like people who grew up like two girls growing up in a nunnery kind of thing, and then it ends up becoming that because that's the thing with kids. You know, you force them into a box. You don't let them be free, and then next thing you know, they got vor fetishes. Look what you've done. like what you
Well,
did.
the thing is, you conceal them in a box for so long that eventually they're gonna get out of the box, and then
They're gonna
Uh,
wonder what the fuck's outside the box. Wait,
Shai
Mike Brooks?
said Shai said the Sisters of Silence are so anti-warp they can be used to calm a warp storm.
Yeah, if you bring enough of them.
Holy shit, that's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
I want. All right. Internet. I need a meme from you. I want Warp Storm, our local Warp Storm maker, Erebus. I want like I want like 5 or 6 Sisters of Silence. Just like Erebus is like on the ground in the fetal position. They're just like fucking kicking him. It's like it's like you fucking ass, like calming the warp storm. Like you know what? What's that one JoJo meme where the guy drinks wine, then he runs up and starts kicking him as well?
Yes, yeah. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Like beating it, or that other meme where it's like a guy, he's like a square, and then these 2 really buff guys start laughing, and they start like beating him up while laughing.
Any meme that involves Erebus getting the shit kicked out of him, sign me up. Sign my ass up.
Ah, Shai's got a good one. There we go. That's a good fucking meme right there.
Yes, and that's perfect. The top one, Sisters of Silence. Bottom one, with his lunch all over the floor and crying like a bitch, Erebus. Hell yeah.
Remove the lunch, make it like a whole bunch of like the Emperor is a real god books and stuff.
The religion of the God Emperor.
There's just a whole bunch of like crosses and stuff.
Bunch of heretical shit. Yeah, sure.
Anyway, Sisters of Silence. It's not a long episode because there's not a lot about them, but I run them when I play Custodians. I want them to have more lore. I would love a character. I would love maybe like, I know they have some, I think you could actually get the Black Ship vehicles and some things like that in 30K, but you can't use them now, which is unfortunate. But they're pretty neat. I think there's a lot of good potential to write about them and stories and all that, but oh well, it is what it is. Anywho, is there anything you want to add, DK, before we go?
Nope. Sisters are metal as fuck. I like them. They look really cool. Their armor's really dope, and yeah, I want to know what happens when one dies. I want to know where it goes. I want to know where its soul goes. Chat, tell me where you think what Chaos God would enjoy a Sister of Silence's soul, air quotes, the most.
My name has been Bricky. Thanks for watching. We're gonna find out where Bricky goes when the podcast ends, and it's to the bar.
Wow, really? You're going right to it's not even noon, man.
The joke is I have to drink. I'm not going to the actual bar.
Oh, well, still, it's like it's not even noon yet. You're gonna go drink. What are you gonna go drink? What would you drink at this hour? Are you gonna make a screwdriver? You're gonna make a corkscrew or whatever? What?
I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna go to bed instead.
That's a much better answer. That's a much healthier answer.
The only thing that I want to be silent is you, DK.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that was mean. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. My co-host is Bricky. He's going to be telling us all about the most ridiculous things in Warhammer 40k, although today's a little bit different, but we'll get into that in just a second. If you enjoyed today's podcast, head on over to patreon.com/AdeptusRidiculous to get lots of wonderful bonuses, like access to our Discord, HD posters, which I believe there's a new Sister of Silence one that just came out. It looks goddamn fantastic. I love it. Wonderful. And yeah, patreon.com/AdeptusRidiculous. Go check it out. HD poster. Wonderful. Bricky, merch and book club.
Merchant Book Club. If you'd like to check out some merch, go to orchid8.com or check out the description of this video. We have tons and tons and tons of stuff, and because it is Christmas, I'm assuming it will probably not last long. So get it while you can, because like sales always increase during Christmas time because that's just the way it works.
Yep.
Also, book club, we are reading Caiaphas Cain, the For the Emperor. That will be soon, actually, as this month is almost over, and so it'll probably be arriving in week 1 of December.
Ooh. Give the gift of ridiculous.
Give the gift of that's great, DK.
Put that on a shirt.
That's great. That is great. I would love to make more merch for Christmas if unfortunately the people who run my merch aren't being absolutely swamped right now.
Ah, that's true. They would be swamped right now trying to do everything for the holiday season. Yep.
Yes.
Next year.
Our fans are very generous, and they have been buying a lot of merch, and they're looking at me like, this is a lot. Help. And I'm like,
a lot, please.
And I'm like, nah, bruh. You get the fuck out of here. You lowly peasant. Be gone.
It's about the money, Spider-Man.
It's about the money, Spider-Man.
It's about the money, Spider-Man.
It's about the merch, baby. And then I whip out my dick, and then I just like start pissing everywhere all over the parade, and then I would leave.
Oh wow, that got a little dark. A little dark. They're working to the bone. They're stressing. They're sweating. And you just come along and piss all over the workshop, and it's like, hey man.
Hey man, what's more luxurious than a golden shower?
Literally anything.
All right, DK. So today's topic is not a topic.
Hey,
and
no guessing, no quotes. Let's go. I win.
I mean, I could make you guess about a quote if you'd like.
No. That's fine. Don't stress yourself out. I wouldn't want to put any more added work on you. I wouldn't want you showing up and pissing all over the place. So it's fine.
That's good. We don't want me to go pissing again.
Mm-mm.
So today is a pretty special day. It marks our 1-year anniversary. Let's go.
Holy shit. I didn't think it had been a year yet. I was like, oh yeah, we've been doing this for like 3 months, right? It's like, no, it's a year anniversary. It's like, wait, what?
I am shocked it actually has only been a year. With the amount of popularity we've gained.
Oh, that's fair too.
It's so strange to see in only a year how fast this podcast has skyrocketed. It's kind of surreal and kind of crazy.
It is a little nuts. Yeah, damn. It has grown quite a bit.
It really has, between like our super generous people over on Patreon, and then the Discord's popping, and then like I mean I know you don't ever leave the house, so it's okay, but not nods aggressively.
Hey! I left for Thanksgiving.
Oh, you did? That's right.
Yeah.
You were gone.
Yeah.
Yay! Round of applause. That's excellent. Well, let's go. But I get a couple people like, I went on vacation on Friday to Mammoth Mountain, and I was at a Target up in Hesperia, and and there was a guy at the Target, and he was like, hey, I watched That's Ridiculous, and I'm like, dope. That's weird.
Cool. Sick.
We'll find some better content, loser.
No, please don't. Please don't.
No, please don't. No, it was. It's kind of crazy having people like in real life say they watch that stuff. He was starting a Sigmar army. It was kind of dope.
Oh, hey, nice. I've worn out my I'm a Tank hoodie, but I guess I don't go to any places where Warhammer people hang out. I guess my local grocery store isn't really a gathering place for 40k people. So.
No, normally if you want to go to a gathering place for 40k people, you go to a Games Workshop, you dingus.
Oh, well, I don't think I have a Games Workshop near me.
You absolutely do.
I do?
You live in San Diego, a major city on the west coast of California. You absolutely have a Games Workshop. It may be like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, but it's there.
I have to leave my house for a whole 15 to 20 minutes? No, more like 40, because it's 20 to get there and then 20 back.
Oh, God. It's a good thing that you have audiobooks to listen to on the way there and back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Caiaphas Cain, Hero of the Imperium. Right, I do.
I feel like I'm going to have to eventually show you that video, like, afterwards, off stream or off video because we don't like React content. But I will have to. It's like a 5-minute one. It's pretty great.
Okay.
Anyway, so for today's special episode, I believe Shy has actually gathered some questions because we're doing some little Q&A stuff, talking about how the podcast got started, just a little bit of a background on the podcast and how it all came to be, and some questions that you all had for us. We want to do a couple shout-outs for people who have contributed to our podcast first, of course. A big shout out to Ted Zero. Ted Zero makes all of our thumbnails. It's actually pretty great for YouTube. The simplicity is really good, but the nice colors and stuff, it really adds a lot. I don't know of a lot of other 40K people who have similar thumbnails, so it really adds a lot to our podcast. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Ted, you absolute Australian douchebag.
Okay. Yes, you do. You do amazing work, Ted. You're fantastic, you douchebag.
Hey, man. You know what they say? If you fall over, your friend helps you up. Your best friend
and then he kicks you back down. Yeah.
Your best friend laughs at you and shits on your chest. Poster artist for our monthly posters goes to, I don't know if I pronounced this right,
Hallistay.
Hallistay. Hey. Oh, wait.
They're great.
Warframe originally?
Yeah, they did a lot of Warframe stuff, and then they just do kind of a lot of waifu stuff. They did for Warframe. They did a female stalker, like an anime female stalker, and it was pretty great. And it was my phone wallpaper for like 3 years. So
God, I hate you.
I know. I hate you too, buddy.
But Hallistay does do some really, really good stuff. I will admit.
Hell yeah! The posters are big draws, and they're fantastic.
As for our animations and our logo, we have Nodal.
That's what I always said, Nodal.
Yeah. Nodal it is. For those of you who liked our animations, I mean, the I'm a Tank animation sure as shit popped off.
Legendary.
And of course, our logo, our main logo, is all done by Nodal. He does I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but they do a really, really good job at all that stuff. Love the animations, would like to make more. We'll figure out a time to make another one at some point later.
Yeah, definitely.
And last but not least, intro theme is by Sinvicta and his band.
Hey, Sinvicta's dope.
Sinvicta and his band. Yeah, it's really cool that we were able to kind of make like a little, Frankenstein is a derogatory term for that, but like kind of grab people from all these different kinds of areas and all put them together into one of our little states. So
it's a good amalgamation of talent.
Also, I would also like to say that a lot of this credit should also go to Shy, as we do not handle all of this technical stuff. Shy does all of that.
Yep, she does the editing, she does the Patreon, she does the YouTube, she wears many hats.
She does all the technical stuff, anything and everything like that. I mean, your boy here does the topics and handles the merch, and DK just sits like a puppy and listens.
Yep. I'm just here for the lulls. I'm just here for the lulls and the memes and to learn about 40K. Yep.
DK, do we want to hop on and off about reading questions? Do you want to read or answer, or?
Sure. Well, I'll read the first question if you want.
Go ahead.
First question is by Shadow. What started the Adeptus Ridiculous? Was it DK, Shy, or Briggy who brought up the idea? Adeptus Ridiculous was all Shy's idea. It was completely 100% Shy's baby to do the Adeptus Ridiculous. I'm trying to remember. I know she wanted to do something in the like content creation sphere of like 40K, but she wasn't sure what she wanted to do, like when she was doing like art streams. And then she just approached me about Adeptus Ridiculous. And I was like, sure, why not? Because Shy literally drags me kicking and screaming to success most of the times. Like, usually if I'm off on my own, I'm just kind of sitting in obscurity, but Shy usually drags me into, like, successful projects, so I had no reason to say no.
It is unfortunate how accurate that can sometimes be. Thank you, Warframe World.
Yeah, thank you, Warframe. Thank you, Warhammer. Thank you, Shy.
You're just chilling half the time, and the Shy's like, hey, you want to, here's some money. And you're like, oh, cool.
Lovely. I would love to partake in some of those bags of money. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically the same thing for me. I'm assuming that, because I mean, we all met Warframe based, right?
And Shy's Warframe stream, yeah.
And Shy's Warframe stream. I think I was invited to one of the art streams at some point. And then, Shy made all of very sarcastic Warframe videos, etc. But I think it was because you were on her art stream, and I think even Luton was there or whatever, and you didn't know jack all about anything Warhammer, and I had just recently come out with my Every Factions Explained video, which popped off.
Sense. Yeah.
And so, and then she asked me, it's like, hey, you want to teach DK what Warhammer's like? And that was, yeah. And then that was kind of the thing. It's very much her brainchild.
Yep.
And we were kind of the puzzles that fit in the.
Well, I mean, really, she's the only one of us with a brain. So, I mean, if it's gonna be a brainchild, it kind of has to be hers.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to keep us in line. But at the same time, it's like mutually assured destruction. She keeps us in line, but without us, she can't do it. So there's a lot of it's like back and forth, just this constant amount of mad.
Yep. We have to be crazy. She tries to keep the crazy in check, and it's just a whirlwind of trouble.
Yeah, but she always downplays the fact that she's just as degenerate as we are, but she has to act like this, act like a handler, and just when things get off the rails, the true side shows.
If you have seen Shy's edits, I mean, they are hilarious, and they make those episodes so much more fun to watch. But she's just as much of a degenerate as we are, with her SpongeBob memes and shit. I mean, come on.
I mean, in the beginning, when we first started making Among Us jokes, she was like, oh, it's Among Us stuff, and then now it's like, just the yellow crewmate takes the entire fucking screen.
Just twerking his ass off, yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you did, Shy. You know what you did.
You know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got for our next question? It says by Darth Eevee Chan. Okay.
Eevee is the best Pokemon, by the way. So fucking cute. Anyway,
okay. I always liked Vaporeon.
Oh no! Don't.
Did you know, DK?
Please don't. No. I know this meme. I don't want to revisit it. Please don't make me revisit this meme.
With the benefits of hindsight and experience, are there any episodes you wish you could redo? Most of the time, I'd have to go through our entire catalog of episodes. Maybe I'll go to the YouTube channel real quick and check it out.
I gotta be honest with you, there's no episode that I really was like, oh man, what a blunder, what a failure. I wish I could totally redo that. I mean, maybe some of the early ones, our first few episodes, just because at that point, we weren't used to doing a podcast, and we weren't used to doing a podcast, with each other, so they might have been a little less than what we do now, but it's not like they were disasters either. So
yeah. I'm scrolling down, and I think maybe the only one would be the Alfarius one, but only because my mic audio, we had the audio problems. That doesn't really count.
We lucked out on that one.
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, almost all of them I'm pretty okay with. The ones that we would always get the most shit for is just if I was incorrect on a fact, but that's often. I tend to be. It happens, and it's whatever.
There's so much stuff to remember, too. It's you forgot this one name in this one battle that, this one name in one battle of, 60 pages of lore, and it's oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's the fact that I can't do everything without it taking 14 hours.
Yeah, that too.
I can't really think of anything in particular. Perhaps maybe... No, I think I was fair enough in the Craft Worlds episode. Elf people just suck.
Yeah, fuck those elves.
Yeah,
right?
fuck elves. All right,
Yeah.
No, I think we were okay on that episode. I don't have a particular one. No, I'm thinking I'm pretty. I gotta have to re-watch it to truly know.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind as oh my god, we really fucked that thing up. Oh my god, they've all been super fun. So. So Spiker Wolf 5896, are there any episodes that you'd want to make a part 2 or continuation for?
Ooh. I mean, I think we might. Well, I think we want to do Death Guard again.
Oh, sure.
Just because Death Guard is we did Death Guard 1, but not Death Guard 2.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I would love a continuation on the Tau, actually. And well, I don't know, maybe not. Well, I guess they're Tau, but I want more on the Far Side Enclave and the Eight.
Okay, that works. I can work with that.
Yeah, I want my anime boys. I know you said they are absolutely atrociously trash on the tabletop, but lore-wise, they sound like a bunch of badass anime mech fighters, and I'm here for it.
Oh, I don't give a shit if they're trash or not on the tabletop. That's just the way it be. And it's like,
It just be like that, yeah.
it just be like that. It's whatever. But overall, I think the one I would want to do a part two the most to is the Silent King episode.
Ooh,
I
more
like
Necrons.
I like because we did the Silent King as like our second episode ever, and I like the Silent King as a character so much that I would enjoy revisiting that in its own right. Hell, to an extent, so I've actually, along with Caiaphas Cain, I have actually started reading the Twice Dead King, the new Necron book.
Oh, how's that?
Very good. I
Ooh,
don't know if it'll quite be Infinite Divine level, but I think it's because it's not quite as much of a comedy.
right, it's a lot more serious.
I'm almost curious about instead of doing a book club, just doing an episode on the damn the guy. It's really interesting.
Okay.
So maybe
Are you thinking that we'll be doing Twice Dead King for the book club too, or are you just reading it on your own because you're just like fuck it, everybody keeps telling me to read it?
I'm reading it on my own because I want to read it, and if we do it for the book club, I'll read it again.
Cool. Because I was
Cool.
gonna say like, please let us do that one for the book club. Everybody's asking for it. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
that would be a dope one.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, I mean part twos. Besides, fleshing out some of the other legions we've done prior, and then maybe if they give us more Alpha Legion stuff, we can get a little bit more specific on those. But nah, I'm feeling pretty good so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll always want to make more sisters stuff, and actually a follow up to the Custodies. That's one I would like to do actually. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's good timing because
White Panther Gaming. What was your favorite moment so far in the podcasts? Ooh.
I know the answer to this one, but you go first.
Like every week is a new favorite moment though, is the problem. Like, because we go so off the rails. Um, I mean, it's hard not to say the I'm a Tank story. It's really like I know we made it into an animation. It's a popular animation. It's a popular shirt. But that story is so fucking stupid and it's so great. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm a Tank.
I'm actually that you mentioned that I'm tied. I'm tied between Macho Man Randy Savage Commissar in the walls because that went so off the rails.
So off the rails. Poor Shy having to edit that together.
I also think that I would put a pretty good spot for the Alpha Legion moment when I lied to you and then just stayed
Oh,
silent.
right, you son of a bitch.
That was
That's
that
right.
was pretty good.
I thought you were actually gonna end the episode on that when you did. I genuinely was like, if this is a short episode and you're ending it just so the next episode gets more traction, I will hurt somebody. But yeah, that oof, you motherfucker.
That
Uh,
one or Macho Man Randy Savage, one of
hmm
those.
Those are all good moments. I will second all of those. Yeah, definitely.
So next up is Who Noob. Which topic was the most surprising and or fun to research, and which topic was the most disappointing and or boring to research? I can list the boring one actually very easily. Horus.
Oh, Horus was boring?
Horus has no backstory. Like
Well, I
we
suppose
don't
that's
know
true.
we don't know what Horus did on the planet that he came from. We don't know his childhood. It's all lost to time or whatever.
Right.
It's really bare bones, and I think that's the whole point because he's the good boy and he needs to
Yeah.
blah blah
Well,
blah.
and the thing with Horus is like it doesn't really matter what his past was. Like it was probably a fairly bog standard whatever past. What matters is when, he starts thinking about turning traitor and, heresying.
Yeah, that's the more interesting thing.
Yeah, he probably had a very normal whatever past that just doesn't matter. Like, even if they wrote about it, it'd probably be very bog standard. Who gives a shit? Yeah, he grew up and he went to the school and nothing happened, and then he went on to fame, and who cares?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty up there in terms of boring. As far as things that I really liked, it's tied between two. It's
Hmm.
between the World Eaters and the Night Lords.
Oh,
So if you remember the original Night Lords episode is the reason I got into the Night Lords to begin with.
it's true.
Because someone was like, "Hey, let's do a CSM Legion," and I'm like, "Ah, okay, why not?" And then we picked Night Lords because I didn't know anything about them. I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are fucking dope.
If I recall right, you were actually you were thinking it wasn't gonna be that great, and like you were gonna yeah, Night Lords, they're just the most terroristy terrorists that ever terroristed. And then the episode started, and you're like, these guys are so fucking cool.
I mean,
And
they are the most terroristy people that ever terroristed, but they're also super cool.
yeah, that is true, they are. But yeah, I remember you being very very shocked at that.
I, I
Um,
I thought that Conrad Kurz was just super edgy emo Batman, and he is, but he also has a lot more. I love I'm a big fan of Slavic stuff, Slavic media, and so there's a lot more
oh
of that than I expected. But also Angron. I unironically just
yeah.
thought Angron was Big Angry Man.
Oh, he's
Um,
so much more. Yeah.
he's so much more. I am shocked that he probably takes the crown for most depressing backstory of all the Primarchs.
Yeah, he had a rough go of it. Ooh, yeah, Angry.
He did had a really bad time. It's like born a slave, forced to shit. Oh wait, no, born to shit, forced to wipe.
Born to shit, forced to wipe. Ooh, yeah, yeah. And then M saves only him, not his comrades. He has to watch all of his best friends die, and then oh, now you have to serve me, and it's like oh,
And if you're angry, like you're just in pain consistently.
because
And
of
if you're not,
Spike.
and if you're not angry, then you're in more pain,
Yeah.
and it's slowly killing you. And every time anyone wants to be your friend, you beat the shit out of them, and then he goes and leaves to a random jungle planet to kill himself, and it's just like holy shit.
Yep. And then doesn't his like lieutenant have to come by and be like, "Hey, stop being such a little bitch, bitch," and then
Yeah,
he's like,
that's our boy.
"Hey,
That's our boy Karn.
oh yeah,
Lol,
Karn,
said Karn
lol,
the
Karn,
Betrayer.
Lamau,
Lamau.
flex on them fools." Um, I remember being the most surprised at Perturabo. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I just thought he was like, sure, petulant man child, yep. But he's a badass. He's a bad man. Like
I
he'll fuck
I
shit up.
yeah, I was only a little impressed with Perturabo. I
Hmm.
was kind of impressed that it confirmed my suspicions of him being a total incel. But I was also impressed to the volume of strength he provided at the same time. It was I don't
Yeah.
know, it was kind of nice to have a character who's just so petulant and like I don't know, when you have these demigod like figures, it's cool to have a Primarch that does stupid human things, like
Yeah.
being mad at stupid stuff and
Hmm.
whining.
He almost killed our illiterate baby boy though. He almost killed Dorn.
Yes, I almost illiterate baby boy. Well, maybe he shouldn't have been like, "Dare you attack my next demonic fortress? Even
Ooh,
I don't know how to get out of this one."
I bet you won't. I bet you won't.
And then he does, and then he kills like 80% of his legion.
Yep. Imperial Fist almost got Imperial Fisted.
Imagine that, just that level of a flex.
That's hardcore, like, cause the Imperial Fist is no joke. As much as I lull on Dorn, I actually think he's super dope. His armor is super cool, and he's no joke. Like that's a big deal.
Man,
Fucking up Rogador and the Imperial Fist, Jesus.
wait until we talk about the phalanx. This fucking crazy shit, man. All
Oof.
right, Shy, you are up next.
Yeah, Shy. What's the next question? Jesus. Oh Lord. Drying Pan for the trio. What was your first exposure to TTRPGs or Warhammer? Oh boy, I do not have a ton of experience with tabletop RPGs. I never really had a group that wanted to play them. So legit, my first exposure to Warhammer was hosting Shy's art streams, her painting some Warhammer minis, and then the chat being like, "Oh, have you ever heard of orcs? They're fucking crazy!" And yeah, and then I was like, "Hey, orcs are crazy. I want to learn more." That's me.
That's pretty
That's it.
fair.
That's it.
I played Dawn of War a bit in high school, but I didn't really know much about 40k. And it wasn't until I knew about 40k because I played the Space Marine third-person shooter, and I read like a book or two, and I was very young, like 13 or so. But I wasn't
Ooh.
hard into it or the tabletop until my manager at Dairy Queen. Shout out to my boy Jacob. I think I've told a story a few times, but
Yeah.
basically he's just I asked him about, hey, like, what's all this Warhammer stuff at the tabletop and all this thing, and then he went to the back and wrote down every faction on the whiteboard and said, we have an 8-hour shift. We're starting with the Space Marines. And I was like, oh, fucking God.
This is gonna take a while. Let's go.
And,
Damn.
and that's how I got into the tabletop there.
All
Um,
right.
for Shy, she says, my first exposure was via Total Biscuit, rest his soul, of course.
Indeed.
He loved 40k and he talked about it a lot on his YouTube and podcast. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Next thing I know, I'm reading 40k wiki for 10 hours straight. That wiki is a drug.
Damn.
You would really, you don't have to deal with a DK, but that wiki is a drug.
The Pain Man. More so to Bricky, but in all of your time playing tabletop, what was the dumbest move you've seen somebody do that actually ended great for them?
Ooh, that's a very interesting situation there.
Yeah, something dumb
Um,
that worked in their favor.
the dumbest move that actually ended great for them. You, you know, it might have been it might have been when I fought my buddy Demeki. It wasn't
Oh.
necessarily a dumb move, but it was very early in our gameplay.
Uh-huh.
I may have told the story once or twice, but I was playing Imperial Guard. He was playing Tau.
Of
Like, this
course.
is during 8th edition. And I had 2 Valkyries, and I dropped a whole bunch of Scions filled with Hot Shots, Plasma, and Melta. And I did a lot of damage like in the drop. But then he moved a bunch of his like Riptides and Crisis suits really close to me to get good like angles and shots off. But
Huh.
because of his distance, I could have got within Melta range and really done the hurt. And I didn't think he had the firepower to actually kill me because at the time he just didn't.
Yeah.
And then what he did was he shot a Valkyrie, and I rolled a 6 for it to explode, and I
Ooh.
used a reroll, and I got a 6 again, and it
Oh.
blew up, and it took out a good like half of all of my Scions. And then he shot the other Valkyrie, and I rolled a 6 for it to explode,
Oh.
and it took out the other entire section. And I think by the end of that shooting phase, I had maybe 2 Scions left. He took out, I think, 600 points with explosions of crash and burn Valkyries, and I was just sitting
Oh.
there like, fuck.
Jesus. Of all the times to roll like triple sixes.
It's definitely not as much of a bad. Like, it's not really him doing anything dumb. Maybe his movement was poor at the time, but honestly, more of that. It's more of like a, oh my god, my roll, what the hell.
Yeah. I was gonna say, don't Tau want to kind of stay back? And
Generally, yeah.
yeah, so
I don't think it's just really early on in our gameplay, so I think we were all
okay.
still learning a little bit more.
Gotcha. I was gonna say like that. Not played the tabletop, just hearing yeah he moved his Tau closer. I was like, wait, what? And yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more of it's the fact that Melta guns are short range, but the shorter the range, or if the closer you are, the more damage they do. So it's like,
Right.
ooh, you're
Right.
really close. I'm gonna hurt you bad if you don't kill me,
Yep.
and I don't think you're gonna kill me. Oh, he killed me.
Damn. Tau suits are really cool though.
They are dope.
I want to get me some crazy suits and stuff. Um, episodes you are dreading the most slash most excited for from Stealth Ninja 3.
Well, DK, what episode are you most excited for? You have a topic?
Oh, I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say I was most excited about the Thousand Suns episode, or like the Magnus episode, or like an Airyman episode, right? Because Thousand Suns are my boys. Um, Aside from that, Raven Guard. I think the Raven Guard looks super cool. I know nothing about them except various memes about Corvax, Corvus,
Corvus Corax.
that one. Um, I just think their armor looks cool. They got that kind of like Raven beak helmet, and their jetpacks are really cool. So I want to see if they're as cool as their armor or not.
Fair enough. I must say, DK, you are part of the problem.
Ha!
Be-
What?
because your favorite thing you're looking forward to is two separate Space Marine legions.
Hmm. Well, at least they're not Ultramarine,
Fair. All
right?
right. Completely fair. I'm dreading a little bit on doing the Thousand Sons episode. I won't lie. I actually don't know very much about them, and I'm scared of doing them improper justice because I feel like, similarly to the Elf fans, there's a contingent of people who legitimately believe that Magnus did do nothing wrong.
He didn't.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did nothing wrong.
But
You're right.
The line between irony and stranger than fiction, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Even as a Thousand Sons fan, knowing what happened, it's like, yeah, I mean, Emps is a bad dad, but there are definitely steps Magnus could have taken to ensure that he did not fuck up too.
Yes. By Cavert P. Is there anything you regret including in an episode, a lore mistake, or a dumb joke? I didn't realize Angron was who Angron was. I thought he was Angry Boy, and I said he was Angry Boy often, and that was completely fucking wrong. And so a couple times I did that, and I'm like, oh shit, damn it.
You know, I think it's gotten to the point where I genuinely regret saying that Rokodorn was illiterate. I think it's gotten to that point, because the more and more I find out about Dorn, the more and more I like him. And it's going to be really weird for me to be like, hey, yeah, guys, my favorite Primarch is Dorn. But didn't you say he was an illiterate idiot? Yeah, I sure did.
Hey,
a lot.
Man. It should be praised with changing your mind, because people on the internet don't do that.
That's fair. That's fair. They just stick to their stupid guns.
Because changing your mind is apparently not okay online. And to me, I certainly changed my mind on a couple factions, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to have, your opinion change as you learn more. I guess that's also a taboo on the internet, learning.
I must admit, I feel like, I truly feel like the newer 40k, like 40k players jump into the hobby, and they're like, ooh, cool blue Ultramarines, or like,
no.
guard or something, and then the more middle tier 40k fans are like, I really like playing the White Scars or the Salamanders or yada yada kind of thing. And then I feel like all the really dead, die-hard 40k fans are like, yeah, Chaos has it right. Man, the Imperium sucks.
If you're gonna get into 40k though, it's okay to start with Ultramarines. They might get a lot of heat from people like me that think they're boring, stupid, and don't deserve the time of day, but as long as you get into the hobby, that's all that matters. Have fun.
I've seen a lot more veteran players with CSM than most other things. I don't see a lot of new players playing Chaos. I see a lot of like veteran boys. Like I don't think I've ever seen a person playing Word Bearers over 35.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Legozilla wants to know, what's your favorite 40k book so far? Oh, I wish I could just jumble the Night Lords trilogy into one.
I know, right? I probably would do the same.
What was the last Night Lords book called?
Voidstalker.
I might go with Voidstalker. Voidstalker at the end made me feel a certain kind of way, with the betrayal.
Yes.
Yeah.
The completely on brand, but
it was
still painful.
You don't expect Night Lord brothers to do that to each other when they're so tight knit, and it's just like,
whoa, DK, wait, did you not read the fucking book? They fucking hate each other.
That's true, but they always like fought side by side, and it just
they literally would scrounge their armor off their buddies and steal their shit.
Sure, but it's not like they killed each other and then, well, I guess they kind of do. I don't know. It felt really bad.
It felt bad because of the situation with his mental state and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like Night Lords are nice to each other. Talos had to kill like 4 people over that fucking sword.
That's true. He did. He
In
did.
Blood Reaver, they killed like an entire other squad.
But he finally came back from, like, instead of being like kind of
Yeah, we
Korn-esque.
don't want to spoil it if people haven't read it yet. But
I guess. But
I
it was
agree.
such a heartbreaker, and it's just, oh, fuck yourself. The Infinite and the Divine is also like up there. I think those two are kind of like tied, because I always have a special place for Infinite and the Divine, our first one, and Trazen's wacky antics with Orican.
I think we're actually on the exact same page. I mean, I would pick Blood Reaver as my favorite of the trilogy, because that's when you get Maruk, and you get that scene with young Talos and his mom, which is just fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, that is. Oh.
It's also when you get introduced to Variel and Lucoriphus and yada yada.
Yes. I know that's not Lucoriphus, but yeah.
We'll
Every time I hear a raptor, yes. Wonderful.
And then I probably tie that with it. Well, okay, my favorite book is it's the trilogy. It's Night Lord's trilogy, absolutely. Sure. But right after that, I would agree, Infinite Divine. Yep. No, I think Infinite Divine, despite being our first book, it is unironically a top 5 40K book. I think it's incredibly good.
Oh yeah.
I think it just lags a little bit in the middle, in my opinion, but besides that, it's really great.
Yeah. Even if you don't know anything about the Necrons, I feel like they give you enough that it doesn't really matter if you don't have any background info.
It's probably the best introduction to the Necrons.
Yeah.
It might take you a little bit to understand certain things, like what an immortal is and stuff like that, but understanding Necron personality, culture, politics, how they fight.
Adeptus Predicted started with the premise of a 40k fanatic teaching a complete newbie about the universe. Over time, DK is going to become more and more versed with, until one day he's as deep in as Bricky. Do you think when that day comes, Adeptus Ridiculous won't have the same feel? You're going off of the assumption that I'm going to learn.
Duh.
So, I don't know that it's ever going to get to that point, honestly. I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where Bricky's like, hey, guess what we're doing today, DK? And I guess it perfectly, and I know everything that he's going to talk about, and it's all going to be like hunky-dory. I genuinely don't think it will ever get to that point. And if it does, I don't know.
I think that so long as you aren't reading stuff on your own, we can instead infer on like ideas. But like I've taught you about a pretty large amount of Space Marine legions and things like that. And even so, if I make a Salamanders episode, you'll be like, oh, is this the part when Vulcan gets tortured by Conrad? And I'll be like, yes. And then I'll go into more detail. But that's,
yeah.
It's not like, it happens, but you don't know maybe specifics. And
exactly, yeah.
And honestly, if that does happen, it'll probably be like 4 years. And by then, who knows what the podcast will be like.
I mean, I'd probably take more than 4 years, because there's such a large backlog of 40k stuff that honestly it would take like a decade.
It honestly would. And there's also the new stuff that keeps coming out. Also with new codexes, they change things sometimes, and also it's like we might talk about orcs again in like 2 years just for the sake of it, and like
because they're fun.
Yeah, who doesn't want an orc episode,
Who cares? And we all know I don't do any outside reading. I won't even watch 40k YouTube videos in fear of like getting spoiled on something. So there is no risk that I am going to somehow overshoot Bricky in Warhammer knowledge. That is not a danger that any of us are worried about.
Also, Shai says that she wrote down 260 plus topics. We've only covered 62 so far. So if you do that if you do that math-wise, we got a little bit. We were 1 out of 4 years down, a little over 4 years down. So, and even then, I mean, this episode
more stuff's gonna come out.
Yeah, and this episode in its own right is like its own week, so we got time.
Yeah, we've got a little time.
From Florida Catachan, man went wild. Wow.
Love it. Great name.
Bricky, what was your horror movie idea with the Arco-Flagellant? You never mentioned it in the Sisters episode. You only briefly mentioned it in the Custodian one. Oh, I had this concept where it's like an imperial world, like maybe not a hive world, but it's just some kind of world, and they get invaded by whatever, chaos cultists, who cares?
Yeah.
And then the Sisters of Battle come and they deal with the problem and then they leave. But it follows around like manufacturing workers, So you can kind of have like the 40k aspect in there where they kind of pray and they do all that kind of stuff, but you're really just following around blue collar factory workers, not on like a hive world, so their life isn't as shit, a little bit more of like a normal life. But one of the arco-flagellants that the sisters used survived and is off its programming, or in a sense is on its programming, and so it's like wandering the giant factory, and you know these factory workers just kind of turn a corner and then there's like a guy there just minced into ribbons, like, and you're like, oh my god, what the hell's going on? And then this thing is kind of drooling, and you can hear like the quiet sounds of the imperial sermons being played into its eyes, and it's just kind of like crawling and twitching through the halls. And so I thought we can use that as like a classic horror movie. We're trapped inside the factory. We got to get out.
The monster, yeah.
Yeah, and it's because I've always said the best way to do anything 40k is to do a normal fucking story, and then just give it the 40k coat of paint. Arcane of League did the exact same thing. Arcane is a really I love Arcane, but it's a very generic story about you know, people in poverty, people who are rich, the in between, bond of sisters, you know, the separation. It's very generic. It's good because it's like a regular story, but with that League coat of paint, and it looks good and the animation's good and blah blah blah.
I feel so sorry for anyone that watched Arcane and was like, man, now I really feel like playing League, and then they play League and it's like, oh no.
Oh,
this is
no.
oh no, this is terrible. Oh god, my life is oh god.
That's why we play Legends of Runeterra.
Or Ruined King if you like RPGs.
Or Ruined King.
Yeah.
All right, you're up, DK.
Kyle, what is currently not canon that you wish would be considered canon?
I don't know. I don't know if you know anything that isn't canon.
I was gonna say, this isn't really a question for me, is it?
Shit, I don't know. Not canon? I think the Alanius Pia story might be more of like a folklore legend, but I guess maybe that one, but I don't know. I mean, there are things that are canon that I wish weren't canon. But I think the original Alanius Pia story probably is the thing that isn't canon that I would like to have stayed canon.
Magnus doing nothing wrong is not canon, but it should be.
Ooh.
That's all I got, man. What do you want from me?
I mean, if I had to choose things that I don't want to be canon, Perturabo being a demon Primarch is fucking stupid. And the whole idea of a perpetual, I think, is dumb.
Oh yeah, Vulcan waiting on his respawn timer.
Yeah. I liked the idea that Vulcan just survived horrible injuries because he's just a big ass dude and he's just really tough, as opposed to he literally can't die.
Yeah, that sort of cheapens it a little bit. That sort of cheapens his strength a little bit.
Yeah,
it sounds way more impressive because when you see Vulcan, that's a big dude. That's a big, strong dude. And so it makes sense that he'd be able to survive these nigh unsurvivable things because he's a fucking titan, basically. So yeah, it kind of cheapens. It's like, oh no, it's just because he's immortal. It's fine. Don't worry. He'll respawn later.
Chief Librarian Dumbass. What a name. How does it feel to have people watch you and love you? Weird.
It's a new sensation. I'm used to people watching me and thinking I'm stupid. Although...
They still do that, DK.
Well, that's true.
They watch us, love us, and think we're stupid.
But at least they enjoy my stupidity now.
I guess.
That's the difference. People are enjoying content that I'm a part of. It feels lovely.
I never fully get used to it. Like I'm definitely a lot more of the YouTuber than I think the two of you are in terms of like
definitely
what I do and stuff. But like I've been to a lot of conventions. I've been to Comic Cons and PAXs and all that stuff, and you know, I'll go to a Games Workshop store and you know, I get recognized here and there either from my YouTube stuff or from the Warhammer stuff, and I don't know, I've never gotten used to it. It's always weird. Sorry, weird is not the right word because weird makes it sound like the other person's problem. If you recognize any of us in real life, well, you won't recognize Shy, but if you recognize me or DK in real life, I think I speak for both of us when I say it's totally okay for you to come up to us and say hi.
Oh God, yeah.
some people get too nervous to take a picture, but they want to, and like, go ahead, please. I'm like totally fine. I've signed stuff before. Like, go ahead. Like, I'm so okay with that. But I never get this feeling of like massive pride when it happens. I'm just kind of like, oh, that was a cool experience. That guy was nice, and then I just kind of leave. You know.
The only time I've been noticed was at Warframe's TennoCon. That's it. And it's weird. It's weird, but it's like a good weird, because you go in and you're like, nobody's gonna like notice me or like, you know, care that I'm there, because I'm just some doof doing like YouTube videos. And then when someone does notice you, it's like, what?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. It's great though, and please do say hello. But yeah, it's just it's weird.
It's one of those situations where it's not weird because we don't like having a fan talk to us. It's weird because we're just not used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think I'll ever will get used to it. And if I do get used to it, then I think I'm out of touch.
Definitely. Did you have you made up a specific like Bricky signature? Because when I was at like TennoCon, they had us do like a little sit down signing session for like an autograph table.
I do have a Bricky signature, yes.
And I gotta be honest with you, I was like, oh, dude, nobody's gonna show up. Like, we're a bunch of Warframe content. Who the fuck is gonna want my signature? Nobody. Didn't even think about it. It's a giant line shows up, and I have to come up with a DK Diamante signature on the spot, and it's this really stupid fucking thing. But now I have to keep it because that's what I've signed a bunch of shit as. So yeah,
I made sure when I did a Bricky signature to make it short. Because if I ever got really big, then I had to sign a lot, and I did not want to have a long signature.
Oh, that's good. That's what sports people do when they have to like sign cards and merch. That's wow, that's next level thinking. Well done.
I'm not a sports person, but Shy also says if you see someone in masks and goggles silently approaching you, it's not me, and you should run.
That's fair. That's good advice. It is. If you were a Warhammer model, what would your stat profile, weapon, and special abilities be? From TV Burp.
I think it's a little difficult for you to answer because you don't know stats or profiles or anything.
I was gonna say, so yeah, Bricky, what would you be?
You would be a Chaos Familiar. It's normally like a little funky doodad that sorcerers use to help cast psychic powers better. So you'd be like running up next to Araman and like just be shouting obscenities at the enemy.
Oh hell yeah! That's okay. I'm in now. I was picturing like this little goblin troll that just sits around and like, you know, they leech power from. But yeah, if I'm just a little familiar that's just swearing at the enemies, let's go. All right.
For me, I'd be like a transcendent Catan, in the sense of like the Catan that's kind of there and he's like in the air, but I'm just gonna make his head like 4 times as big. And then like and instead of having his normal abilities, just have this like blinding forehead, -1 to hit.
You're really leaning into it, aren't you?
I gotta do that. It's, you know, you gotta blinding forehead aura.
I literally just imagined a mini with your head ×4 that's just floating in the air like a hot air balloon.
That's exactly what I want it to be like. I mean, you could do that, or you could make me like a guardsman that hits on 6s. You pick one.
Yeah, you definitely no. There's no way you're gonna be a guardsman. You've got to be like the hot air balloon head. Now that you've put that out into the ether, like you can't take that back. Okay. Internet.
All right, fine. I can be hot air balloon head. But I get reroll hits against Eldar because fuck them.
Deal.
Let's go.
That's perfect. That's so perfect. Oh my god. Yeah. I will definitely be the little trolley that's shouting obscenities at people. Love it.
Zesterite Ardvarkus. Oh dear. Are you guys planning on discussing Warhammer video games similarly to your book clubs? No plans on it, but at the same time, I don't see any problem with us playing like the third-person Space Marine game and just kind of talking about it, or Dawn of War.
Yeah. Or shit, what is it? Dark Hammer? No.
Dark Tide.
We
will do Dark Tide. We will do Dark Tide stuff.
Yeah. If you thought we weren't gonna play Dark Tide, y'all crazy. We're totally gonna play that. Will there ever be an episode that's just full of small things that, while interesting, don't have enough lore or info on them for a full episode, like the missing Primarchs as an example from Z Hellas? I have to believe there will be an episode of just like sort of small things that singularly they wouldn't have enough for an episode, but all together would make a great little sort of compendium of stuff.
I assume the same as most likely that well, I mean, like the thing we did with the other Xenos races, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a solid That's a tap the sign moment.
Well, that's a little bit of a tap the sign moment.
That's kind of kinda, but a little more specific though.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Also, the last question is this is a good final question by Gerp. Is Shy holding Bricky and DK hostage?
By Gerp.
If she, she can edit the videos, so I don't even think you'll get the right answer that you want.
It's I mean, no, she's not holding us hostage. Certainly not. I think the only hostage scenario is we have no idea how she's gonna edit them. So we're kind of at her mercy in terms of how dumb she said. No, she's not holding us hostage. Certainly not. I think the only hostage scenario is we have no idea how she's gonna edit them. So we're kind of at her mercy in terms of how dumb she really wants to make us look. But usually it's pretty fucking funny. So, I mean,
we're at the mercy of her edits, and therefore I believe that is as close to a hostage situation as you can get.
Yeah, that's why we try to, any chance we get, we'll like kind of stick it to Shy, because
because
one good turn deserves another. I don't know.
Oh my God, Shy has a gun.
The drawing of Shy has a gun. It's fine. She doesn't even have proper gun etiquette. You don't.
She's
put
flipping
your
you
finger,
off. That's the point.
Yeah, but you don't put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to fire. And what, is she gonna fire straight up in the air? Ridiculous. Adeptus ridiculous.
That's where my head is, way up in the air.
Because you're floating up there.
Hell yeah, Transcendent Catan. I'm gonna use Time's Arrow.
And I'm just swearing in the background. Love it.
Antimatter meteor. I'm just imagining Ahriman like floating on his disc, and you're like sitting on the front of his disc, just like screaming.
I love it.
Like you're like you can hear like a little whine as he like flies past, like
Jesus.
Oh my God. All right. Well, that was a fun little episode.
Yeah.
Got some questions, talking about some stuff. Happy 1 year, DK and Shy.
Happy 1 year. God, it doesn't feel like it's been a year of this.
You're right. It feels like it's been 2.
Eat ass, dude.
I will eat as much ass as is needed.
Bricky's like, come on, man. I'm like an Ouroboros with eating my own ass, bro.
An Ouroboros?
Yeah, it's the snake that's eating its own tail.
Oh.
It's called an Ouroboros.
Oh.
Ouroboros?
Oh, well, in that case, eat ass, you fucking...
case, eat ass, you Ouroboros motherfucker.
Eat my entire ass. Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis, indeed. See, that's that one. See, I have culture.
At this part of the podcast, in this time of day, localized entirely within my ass.